I think the last time I forgot to record a couple. Um, so apparently this is the last meeting ever. I'm just joking. There's no last and there's no first. What's being expressed is that there is no end to this, since this does not have a beginning. This wordlessness that appears as words is seeking the absence in words. So what does it mean when there's no end to this? It could either be perceived as a nightmare or as a dream, or it's just something that cannot really be fully expressed, because expressing it in a narrative, in a story, creates more narrative about something that cannot really be pinpointed at, something that cannot be inquired about because there's no self to inquire, something that is an impossible becomes a possible reality, when reality is impossible, since that simply projects or creates a dualistic impression of something that cannot be separated. Let's not even get stuck with words like cannot be separated, because it creates right away an idea. So what has been spoken about, what is being heard, everything that has been said in the past 3 days, surprise, is meaningless. The moment that the meaning arises, the moment that it tries to capture even the suggestions that there are no words, it creates an alternate reality, a thought that there are no words. Simply, this is just, I'm using words again here because it's hard not to use words in trying to express something that cannot be expressed in words. Let's just call it the unknowable aliveness, because it's not known, but there is this palpable, felt sense of an apparent reality that does not have any reality. It's just this full-on unknowable aliveness that seems to appear in everything, but what seems to be focused on is that localized, centralized, using words like location, to and from. So language is like a dead language that resurrects like zombies. It rises and it falls. It rises and it falls. And it resurrects again over and over again, over and over again. But what is seemingly like a show of words trying to obscure this unknowable aliveness into something known, it creates a two. It creates a beginning and an end. So what doesn't have a beginning creates an ending, but only in thoughts. Because when there are no thoughts, when there is no words, what is really ending, or what's even a beginning? Pause here. Simply, there are no pauses. What seems to be appearing does not have a pause because it's still, but it's moving in words. It's narrated through words. And the words, as empty as they are, creates this, wow, oh shit, whatever seems to appear, it's a full-on the full onness of something that cannot be expressed. I'm not going to advise anything like, end your seeking in words, but it's obvious that without words, there's no seeking. But seeking happens even without words. Movement happens in stillness. But without words, what is really happening is just something that's undeniable. Something that is so plainly obvious. It doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need to have any meaning. It's just whatever is on display is it. So vision might arise, hearing might arise, sensations might happen. But are they really even happening? Is anything really going on? Is anything really going on? See, when the questioner is eliminated, what is going on? So when the questions end and the answer does not matter, the shackles in words, the imprisonment of the imprisonment in concepts, the towers of belief system, when they rise and fall, there's just this freedom on whatever is on display. Anger, frustration, love, fear. But what's being suggested is, since that these are just movements, inging, wording, illusioning, dreaming, then all of a sudden, what seemed to be held on to, whatever seemed to be tried to be figured out, loses its meaning, loses its necessity, loses its friction, loses its neurosis. There's a natural surrender to the rising and falling of words. But the words are not chased or not objected or not held on to. Kind of like what I said earlier, when there is a loss of everything, when everything that was held on to seemingly just can't be held on to anymore. The meaning of life, the purpose of life, the importance of enlightenment, the yearning for awakening, the dropping away of the me, the yearning for the freedom that seems to be really elusive. When all of those phrases are just strung along like words that's like zombies, basically, that rise and fall, it just becomes a spectacle of words, a spectacle of meanings, a spectacle of symbolisms. But there's no reality to any of them. There's no reality to any of this. The reality is just perceived. It's made up. And before you can think about, is this just another illusion? What's even an illusion? What's even a mystery? When they're just really just words. So whatever rises, falls. Whatever is made up gets figured out. Not by anyone, by just the glaring clarity that whatever is that you're trying to figure out, whatever is trying to figure out is trying to figure out something beyond this because it's afraid to get figured out that it's not even real. So the unreal happening that's not happening simultaneously and not really even going on is this show. This show of surrender, this show of acceptance, this show of ease, this show of dis-ease, this show of whatever seems to play. Since it's all play, a play of words, a play of light, a play of meaning, a play of purpose. Is play just this or that? Or is it all of it? So everything seemingly is a play, and that's just trying to put a word on something that is not a something. There's no getting this, not because there is a lack. There's no getting this because there's no this. There's no it. The moment that you think, what is it? It evaporates. And that frustration of trying to get something that there never was. It's like the Ouroboros, like the I think someone mentioned it earlier. It's like chasing its own tail. But it doesn't even have any reality because reality is just made up. The persistence of kind of like a child at play, kind of like when you're telling a child, well, go to bed, it's midnight now, and it's afraid to disappear. It's afraid that if it admits or it accepts, saying its defeat of going to sleep. So it tries to be awake. So it creates this idea that there's an alternate awakeness, that even though it's asleep, it's awake. Even though it's dead, it's alive. Even though it cannot be separated, it branches off into a separate identity. And that identity is you. Although there's no you, the apparent you creates all of this. But since this is created, nothing is really being created. It's all uncreated. There's no source to this. There's no meaning to this. And that's the great news. If you have any questions, please go ahead. And we'll chat. Or if you want to ask a question in the chat, please go ahead. To cut a long story short, it's done. It's exposed already. Everything is as surreal as my background. What flavor?
Tropical.
Ooh.
Mm.
Thank you. I really love this band. It's a bit like Star Wars. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Sabi, it's over, man. It never even began. Right? So any idea that seems to arise is just over as soon as it begins. Hey, Samar. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? I
Good.
like
How
your
are you?
glasses.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm almost blind.
That's what we talked about earlier, actually, blindness.
Oh, sorry. I missed the first 7 minutes.
Oh no, in the other meeting. We've had this is the last meeting in a series of 9. So this is the 9th meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. Really good.
I always just want to raise my hand and talk, but I have no idea. Like, I don't really know what to say. I just want to say hi.
Hello. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I don't know what to say or talk about, but maybe something comes up. But
Awesome. Well, it's good to see you.
good to see you too. I love these meetings.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, actually, I could say like before, I would try to understand or decipher or decode what people are saying,
Yeah,
and I just find like today yeah, I'm just like listening, and it's just going in my ear out the other.
perfect.
I'm not trying to understand anything, and
Yeah,
it's just like I just feel really good. Just whatever is being said feels really good,
good. Yeah.
but I'm not trying to understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no one trying to understand it anyway. The understanding just creates this kind of like this chain of understanding and misunderstanding and everything. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
thank you.
Oh, of course. Hi again, Emerson. Every thought that's coming up right now is like it's like shooting blanks. Is the me impotent? I actually like that. It's all this talk about orgasm in the past couple. That's um, there is actually, you know what? It again, it's so funny because it can appear as it's just an appearance, right? And then when there is a labeling of it, that it becomes another label again. So it can go underground, you know what I'm saying, and thinking that it's impotent, only to fight back again, thinking that is omnipotent. Ah, it just goes from from nothing to it's like it's a really tricky situation because what is being expressed here is appearing in words, but sometimes the words, it's like a morphing thing, right? It morphs into understanding and meaning, and there's nothing wrong or right about that. But I like that. I like that. It was never really there in the first place, right? So there is this sameness that appears, but I get what you're trying to say, but just there's no one witnessing it, there's no one noticing it. But the moment that there is a thinking that I'm noticing that my thoughts are shooting blanks now, then it's morphing again into another kind of like a no me situation. I am absent situation. It is whatever it is. So when there's not even a noticing, it's almost like I don't. I was talking to someone in the break earlier. He goes, I don't really know what's going on, and I can't really explain what is happening anymore. And these words are coming out of my mouth and trying to express that I don't know what's going on. But who is even the one that does not know what's going on? So when all of that collapses, you know what I'm saying, and there's almost like an easiness in what is happening. There's nothing that needs to be figured out. I live with a couple that I absolutely don't share anything about what I listen to, and had a funny thought as I observed one of them watching The Simpsons all day, and that my listening to you is the same. However, I'd be stir crazy for watching The Simpsons all day. Don't have a cow, man. Cowabunga. That's from Simpsons. Yeah, words are very impotent though until you give it meaning. It creates this meaning, it creates this meaninglessness, whatever, that it's a morphing, kind of like it's the apparent self, the illusory self that maintains its identity through words, and every single word that's uttered and every word that is heard. It's almost like it mimics what is. It mimics the vastness, the unspeakable, by appearing seemingly, but it can really appear, if you really think of it, there is no me, there's no time, there's no reality except in thoughts. And even when someone says, well, when there are no thoughts, there's just reality, but who thought of that? Or someone will say it's just awareness, but who thought of that? Or somebody might even say wordless awareness, but again, that's another one. I feel that I totally get what you're saying, but somehow there is a need to confirm it over and over again. Like it has to be confirmed enough before I can relax. So the word is asking for a permission from another word. It doesn't need any permission. It doesn't need any confirmation. Confirming a word, a feeling, a sensation maintains that there's a separateness. So there's no advice here to confirm or to stamp of approval, because that very stamping of approval reinforces that there was someone that needed that stamp of approval. You can also say that it's just all relaxed already. The relaxation that's been longed for is already this. There's just fluctuations in relaxation made up of words. That's basically it. There's just fluctuations in peace that is created by the waves of words that crash back and forth. Heard, spoken. But I get what you're saying too, Vlad. Yeah. In the story, anyways. I don't know if you guys can hear it. My dad is playing Engelbert Humperdinck. What a name. He's a singer. Is he from the 50s or 60s? Does anyone know who Engelbert Humperdinck is? You do?
Yes, I think he's from like the 60s, or is that right? 60s, you guys?
60s?
I would think so.
Possible 70s.
Possibly,
Okay.
yeah, possibly
All right.
70s too.
There's this song called Please Release Me.
Let me go. Yes.
Yeah.
By Wilson Phillips, maybe.
No, you're too young, Fernando. It's from the 60s and 70s. Wilson Phillips is from the 80s or 90s, early 90s.
I know, but I remember that name of the song, the same song or the same name.
It's called Release Me, but this one is Please Release Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was more
There's one is a
polite.
pleading to be
Okay.
released.
Okay.
I used your full onness there, Nicole. I said full onness, wordless full onness, which is a mouthful. This full on word. Yeah, see, it's hard to speak about something that can't be spoken about. Yeah. Wordless full onness. There we go.
When I first got on and I was looking these at these beautiful smiling faces, it was like a thought would come, and it was clear that no thought could ever be true or said about they're so unknowable. This is just so unknowable.
It is.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't know how to say it, but like I don't know if I'm expressing. She wants to look at pictures of her brother. That's what
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's sweet. but yeah, like this, I used to at some point think that there wasn't other that could be known, and that the thoughts that I thought about them were true somehow,
Yeah.
and that those thoughts somehow made them who they were or whatever. Like
Yeah.
the arrogance in just that there's, I don't know.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's almost like
Yeah.
there's always a striking of silence. And that silence doesn't have any opposites. So silence, and then there's a soundtrack that comes, with silence and try to create opposites. It's kind of like, oh, there's Eliana, there's Petra, there's
Yeah.
Nikki, right?
Yeah.
It creates this illusion that there's an Eliana, a Petra
Mm.
in what it's seeing, right? But without that, there's a color blue, a color green, all this kind of stuff, right? It's almost like it's the most horrible interpreter because there's nothing to interpret. It's
too
like
beautiful
lost in
to be
translation.
labeled.
Yeah.
It's too stunning. It's too pure. It's too already perfect to be freaking labeled with a stupid, silly, dead thought.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's like all the words are just binding it and like just killing it somehow. I don't
Yeah.
know. But then, yeah.
But
I
you
don't
just
know.
see that thing of the zombie, right? Like, in the morning it goes, "Argh," all these words get like going. A dead language that rises, right? When the is there a zombie that when there's a nighttime they all fall, they all kind of like, and then they rise again. Yeah, there's that zombie in what was it called again? The Kingdom. It's a Korean zombie TV series that they only arise during the day. And then at night they all fall, right? So everybody has to hurry, to go to their forts and everything with these zombies and everything. So it's like that. It's like that, and it's just a zombie looking. It's just pointless and everything. But it thinks that it is existence itself. So the words thinks that it's existence itself, when existence is just a very word. So it creates all of this impotent words trying to create potency in its reality, but the reality is just even made up.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
But I really liked, I didn't hear much because I just got on, but I liked what Samar was saying.
Yeah.
Just when the words somehow there's not the one who's trying to understand them.
Yeah. It's almost like when you're kind of like when you're cleaning your house with your favorite songs, your favorite playlist song.
Yeah.
It's like you don't pay attention to it anymore. It's almost like it's been heard before and it doesn't really matter. It's just music.
No.
Or it's just I really like a lot of dark classical lately, right? A lot of like Requiem and all of that kind of stuff. It's just O Fortuna, like this choral thing. It's really intense. And then you're cleaning your house and and you're not trying to decipher what they're saying, which is probably really, really dark. You know what I'm saying? Because and it doesn't really matter because it sounds really cool. Or I used to clean with the Gypsy Kings.
I don't know. Oh, Eliana
Gypsy
knows.
Kings. Eliana knows, right? Bamboleo, bamboleo. It's just this amazing kind of like, you don't understand Spanish, but there's just this rhythm to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that a friend was coming over, and so she just showed up, was very surprised, and then surprised by this I can't explain, but it just feels like just completely vulnerable, and there's nothing to hide. I can't hide. I don't know how this, it's like somehow there used to be a sense that I could keep myself from being seen or something. I don't know if that's the word, but just like this I don't know, it's intimacy or vulnerability. I don't know. See, it just doesn't
Rawness,
matter. It's
rawness.
just,
I call it
yeah,
rawness.
yeah,
Yeah, there's just this, I think someone said it's like nakedness, right? It's like
yeah,
you can't
yeah.
hide anymore, right? It's and it
And
doesn't
it's
matter
beautiful.
because there's nothing to hide. It's
No,
just naked all the time now, right?
yeah,
There's just this, yeah.
yeah,
I
naked,
used to hide
naked.
my spirituality, and I used to hide my material, you know, like when I was in spiritual, you know, in a setting or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, you're always trying to put some sort of image out there.
With an image there, but it's just,
Yeah,
and it's just afraid to be seen. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Now there's just no more kind of like hiding. It can't hide
yeah.
because there's nothing to hide, and it doesn't really matter.
No. What could? Yeah.
It's funny because, you know, my brother's here, he's helping clean the place, you know what I'm saying, because we're kind of like trying to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and he's in the other room, and I don't even hide before, you know what I'm saying, when I was speaking about spirituality, I would try to hide what I was saying.
Mm,
Now it's just like, who cares?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that my friend is still, because I've been posting about this
Yeah.
sometimes. She's has strong Catholic beliefs.
Oh, wow.
Somehow she still wants to talk to me about her life, and she's interested in what I have to say about it, which I don't really have anything to say. Except for it's almost like people come to you because they want you were saying it like they want confirmation.
Confirmation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what she wanted,
Yeah.
some sort of confirmation.
A word wants to be confirmed that it's real.
Yeah.
It's making real something that is just, for example, someone will say that something's bothering me. You know, I think that I might be too wild or something.
Yeah.
And then you'll say something like, I don't think you're too wild. You're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like
Yeah.
it's this back and forth of words, right? That
Yeah.
to maintain a narrative. And then yeah, the word just needs company to make it feel real.
Mm.
And it's just this play. It's just this play. And there's nothing wrong with it because it's just this, it's like this muted aliveness that seemingly seems to be kind of like, you know, eclipsed by words, right?
Yeah.
But it's all aliveness. It's all full onness, right? Without
Yeah.
saying any words, it's just this full onness. And there's this, it's muted sometimes by words, hidden by words, but it can't really hide in words, doesn't it?
No.
Because the
No.
silence is so loud.
Yeah.
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 It's like you can't see it, but it's just
Yeah.
too in your face. It's too in your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to someone in the break, you know, someone called me up and then she's just like, this is going to sound weird, right? But it feels like every time that I speak now with the word kind of thing, right? It's like I'm French kissing, I'm silence. And I'm like, oh, wow.
That's intimate.
It's intimate. Yeah. You can't get more intimate than that.
Not really. I mean, yeah.
Beautiful though, if you really look at it. It's like,
it's beautiful expression. Yeah. A nice way to put it.
Yeah. I love that there's new languaging that's coming up, like someone calling it, you know, shooting blanks and impotent. You know what I'm saying?
It's too good.
When it's pointed out that words are just simply kind of like just really, you know, it's just all illusory. And then the hierarchy of words seems to vanish, right? There's no more sacred
Yeah.
word or divine word or yeah, because divine and
that
sacred are
word-
just word. Yeah.
And that word is also really great, impotence, because when there's a sense of this real controller here that's reaching for state, it's like it can seemingly get high and get so
Yeah.
it's like there's no ability to really, I don't know, to get,
Yeah, because
I
you,
don't
you
know.
you know in the for reality to be perceived, right? You know, because it's just another kind of like illusion. The the illusory gets high on words, if you know what I'm saying, right? So it's
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
intoxicating, like a series of words and everything. This is kind of like a palate cleanser, the words that are being expressed here. It's like
This is so good. Yeah.
so that the full onness, you know what I'm saying, the wordlessness is the full onness, you know what I'm saying, is not dictated by words, because there's this full on aliveness, you know what I'm saying, that is just it's like when you see your kid walk in their room, there's light, right? You're like, oh, there's my little, I see my puppy, or my mom, my dad. There's just this,
Yeah.
it just goes beyond words, and we'll call it love, we'll call it like,
Yeah.
whatever, right? That seems to
Oh,
come.
yeah.
And even for example, when I was kind of like scrolling down, like that, and I'm going to use words, right? Like seeing kind of like puppies that are being tortured, in some countries for meat, and something this kind of like, there's this disgust, you know what I'm saying, like sadness that I can't really express in words,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
also, even if it's full on, it's also full on empty.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not divided anymore, right?
It's so free. It's
Yeah.
so free. It's so
Yeah.
free that it's
Yeah.
just so full and so free to not mean anything, to not
Yeah.
really stick, to not really.
It's like, that scene from The Wizard of Oz, when you open up the curtain, all of a sudden the wizard and Dorothy disappear, both of them.
Yeah.
There's no more one looking for home. There's no one, trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's like all the delusion goes away. Yeah.
And everything's just home. Even like I like this, that there's this freedom to whatever opinions there. Things like my friend was talking about how she was discriminated against because she's pregnant at her job.
Yeah.
So there's even, you could say, more of a freedom to express that's not right.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's what really energetically comes. It's like, fuck them.
Yeah.
No, they can't do that. And yet at the same time, it doesn't feel like it means anything at all.
Yeah.
Except for that expression is just love somehow. It's just happening. And somehow
Oh yeah, or even kind of like anger. It's kind of funny because I've told this story many times, but there's a conclusion to it. When I got beat up last year, and during kind of like COVID times, and it was just a racist kind of stuff, and I ended up in the hospital with stitches on the back of my head. So the probation officer of the person that got caught basically said to me, it's awesome, Emerson, that that you're doing fine. I'm really, really happy that you're doing fine. And because it was a hate crime kind of thing, right? So she was expecting me to be thing, and then she goes, what would you like to say to him? That kind of thing. And I'm like, and then she said that there must be so much anger that you can't say anything. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, saying here, it was just seen as a nightmare, right? The nightmare. But when she said this, she said, well, you know what? If karma's real, you know what? He's dealing with a black woman right now. And I said, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't mean anything, you know what I'm saying? Because it came from a racist stuff, and he apparently had a black judge, a black probation officer. So he's beginning to admit a lot of it, basically kind of like he basically is expressing that during the COVID, he blamed the Asians for it. And I just became a punching bag for that. I'm laughing about it now because I can laugh about it. But when I was talking to the probation officer, there was this kind of like pauses in between. I'm like, but when she said something, there was just this full on like, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's this kind of like, but it doesn't mean anything at the same time. It can be fully expressed and be completely meaningless.
Yeah.
Anger can completely amp up, like your veins are popping on your neck, but it also means nothing. Right? There's no more restrictions. There's no more kind of like, oh, that's not too spiritual of me. or there's no like, oh, that's not so non-dual of me. No, there's no such thing as anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Everything goes. Somebody was just saying earlier, I don't know if it was on here, I was chatting with them. They said the one thing that was somewhat left that meant something to me, the only thing that really mattered was non-duality. And now even that doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now even that is lost. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
It
there's
is really
nothing.
the end of the story of seeking, right? The seeking
Yeah.
happens in finding the best restaurant. It's just natural. There's no more charge to it, right? There's no seeking for the truth anymore. It's just natural. The seeking becomes natural,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
forms it takes, but there's no neurosis or no holding
Yeah.
on to it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like there's this meme of a guy trying to nail the waves of the ocean. Trying to keep it right. It's like there's this shoreline is trying to nail it's that seeking is trying to nail with the neurotic tendency of trying to get something. The waves, the shore is going to come back and forth, and there's no controlling that. So seeking is trying to nail something that is just naturally moving back and forth. The words will rise and fall, feelings will come and go. Good or bad will seemingly appear, although there's no good or bad. It's not going to be always kumbaya and love and light. Sometimes it's going to be dark and stormy night. You know what I'm saying? Where you kind of like, and it's just the beauty of this though. When it's seen as no longer the enemy or something that needs to be get ridden of, right? It's just this infinite appearances of something that cannot appear. It's just the impossibility, happening through a you vision, which is not even real.
Yeah.
So it's just this, wow, it's just this kind of like, yeah. And that's just a story, of course. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the untold is unfolding as a story. The unspeakable is speaking in tongues. The uncelebrated is saying hooray all the time,
At one point, I thought that my daughter had swallowed a bobby pin. So
I heard about that. Yeah. I think it was like a couple of meetings ago, right?
So I called the doctor eventually, and they're like, "Well, yeah, you should bring her in. She's gonna have to get an X-ray." And immediately there was just this anxiety. This freeness for just anxiety or just whatever. I don't even know. So you can't even really say, but it's just. And then like all of a sudden, my mother-in-law was here, trying to give me comfort. She hugged me, and it was like so obvious that it was just, this is just a dream. It's just not happening. So it's so just not happening and so just a dream. And yet, wow. It's so visceral. It's so alive. It's so just amazing.
It is, yeah. It is. It's
that
like
it could feel so real and then not so real. Yeah.
When there's no more rejection or acceptance, that's it, right? Because any movement, it's almost like there's just this stillness, and then there's this appearance of movement and everything, right? And the movement, even if it's not real, is trying to rewind and pause and fast forward.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's not even real. It's trying to rewind, fast forward, pause, kind of like goes back, but it's just stillness, right? And it's just like, so when it's kind of like, and this is just a story because it can't be told, when it's in flow, when it's just in dream state, right? It's just kind of like when you're kind of like having a dream at night, and that dream, there's nothing that you can do because it's just a dream. So the dream will go on as horrific or lovely or anything in between, right? From a dream that's kind of like very like a nightmare into a
Yeah.
fantasy of flying, water buffaloes. Because if you notice those nighttime dreams, you never question it.
Mm.
It just flows. Although you don't know if
Yeah.
it's real or not real,
Yeah.
it's just, there's no objection to it.
Yeah.
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 What
It
a dream,
sometimes,
huh?
yeah, it sometimes feels like a I guess that term lucid dream or some,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know if that's the word, but like,
Vividness, like a vivid dream.
yeah, and it almost like weird, it's not synchronicity, but just sort of like, it just feels very effortless or something where it's just I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's it's just happening. It's just the whatever appears to be
Yeah.
happening.
It
So
seems to
it's
be
just,
happening, but it's not really happening at the same, because it's just a dream,
yeah,
right? So it's like this,
yeah,
it's like you're not trying to figure it out because it's not even happening. The one who's
yeah,
trying to figure out is just the dream as well. So the dream is, for a lack of better term, is in sync.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's not
yeah,
trying to be
yeah,
fast forward or rewinded or
yeah,
paused. Yeah. It's not trying to be edited,
yeah,
That's what I was trying to do with awareness, is because, I had this idea of what, peace is, right? So every time that I thought about something that's not peaceful, I would shake my head. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm Satvik, those are not pure thoughts, It was just, it was just, it was just nuts. It's just nuts, right? To think that there's two, to think that there's control, to think that there is manipulation, when how can simply cannot be divided manipulate? How can it
yeah.
control?
Yeah.
How can it avoid? How can it accept even? Unless it's not real. Aha.
Totally real.
Oh,
Gotta go.
bye-bye. Casey, word abuse.
Emerson,
Hi, Zabi. How are you
what's up?
doing?
I'm all right.
You all right? Okay, good, good.
All right. Something that Nick about how she heard somebody say the last thing that was being held on to was non-duality. And I remember I called you months ago when I was at the car dealership, and I was like, Emerson, I can't even, non-duality is not even anything. I can't even hold on to that.
No, because there's no such thing as
Yes.
anything, like even non-duality doesn't even exist. The last frontier doesn't even exist, which is usually what I'm like, this is the last frontier, non-duality, the last house on the whatever. It doesn't even exist. I remember that.
Last
I
house on the
remember
block.
that. What's that?
Huh? Oh, no, I didn't say nothing.
I remember that call when you were saying that, Emerson, you were like, there's no you. Remember that? There's no Emerson. They're like, oh, I don't know if you heard what I've been saying all this time,
That still happens over here too.
Oh yeah. I get those calls sometimes, like usually after one-on-one, and they're like,
Did you know?
Emerson, I just, it just dawned on me that there's no you. And I'm like, yes. There's
Should
no
ask him, how do you know
Emerson.
that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing, this full onness that does not have any opposite? This wordlessness that does not need any division because words divide it. And then neither the acceptance or rejection of words because it's just, I can't even say what it is without using words. All right.
Love you, man. Sorry, not
Love
much
you
to say.
too. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Paulette.
Hey, Emerson.
Hey, Fergal. How are you?
Good, man. My camera has stopped working, so I can't
Oh, no worries. No worries.
switch it on. But yeah, I'm completely beat, so I'm probably gonna take off. But thank you. Just incredible 3 days. The energy, good Lord, the energy you brought was yeah, incredible.
Oh, thank you,
Incredible.
Fergal. Thank you so much. We'll chat again soon. And
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
a, yeah, this is someone actually, I was talking to someone earlier in the break there and saying that this was really exhausting because
Right.
what's being kind of like, exposed and of course it goes all out, right? All of these words kind of like almost like a an uprising of words only to get shut down. Right.
Which is so true, the last one that I did with you, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I was so busy taking notes and blah. I haven't, I didn't buy, there was no point,
Yeah.
why write stuff down? That's pointless.
I was there, man. I used to just be the fastest kind of like writer and kind of like creating this, and I would get really angry if I get distracted because I thought I missed a couple of words. That word would have liberated me and I missed it.
If only you those 2 words, you would have got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you burn all your notes at one point
Some of my notes were actually on
or throw them away?
on,
Yeah.
on a computer, like on a note thing,
Ah.
right? So
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I have tons and tons and tons of journal that I just tossed out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to not only take it, type it on computer, but sometimes I would write it all down in really nice kind of like calligraphy, and I would
Oh,
highlight
wow.
it.
Yeah. And did you index it as well? Like a little TOC, to contents,
No,
you got
no,
your
it was
tags and
I used to buy this really holy looking journals, right? That look like they came from the Lord of the Rings, with like big thick cover made out of
oh,
leather.
hell yeah.
So when I open it, it's like a divine word,
Yes.
right? These
Very
are sacred
special.
words that were taken down by
Oh,
me
yeah.
from divine sages and all that kind of stuff.
Canon. It's canon. Cursive. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it was cursive. Yeah, it was just and
That's
sometimes
I bet it's beautiful.
yeah, sometimes I would insert like a fern there or some dried up
Oh my
stuff,
goodness.
to kind of like just
That's
create the sacredness of it all. And
Brilliant.
oh man.
it's so funny that I'm making fun of all the words now, but word was my bond before. They were my treasure, right? They were
Yeah.
they were my prized possessions. And
Hmm. Well, you burned them all up.
yeah. Funny how
Um,
the mighty have fallen. The mighty words have fallen.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, Emerson, thanks again, buddy. Really appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're welcome, Fergal. No, thank you. Thank you for coming. It was
Yeah,
fun.
lovely to meet everybody on here too. I'll
Yeah.
see you.
Have a good rest, Fergal. We'll
Thank
chat again
you.
soon.
See you all. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Love you.
Emerson, since there's no one there, can you sing to us?
Oh no. I've been singing all this time and you haven't heard it.
Oh no. I need to meditate more. Oh,
No, I haven't done my vocal warm-up, so sorry.
right,
There's a
right.
perfect pitchness in this word, and I'll be all over the pitch if I sing right now.
Yeah. Do you actually have perfect pitch? Because
No, just hearing, not in singing. That's why I
Yeah,
don't sing
in
a
hearing.
lot.
Yeah. Okay. Oh shoot. You can always hear your imperfect pitch.
Yeah, of course. And when I was a kid, I did listen to a lot of Michael Jackson, and he does have, like his vocals are spot on. If you
Oh,
listen to
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Him
yeah.
and Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury is the it's one of those singers that gets it. But listening to like who is horrible? Mariah Carey. Yeah, seriously.
Cover
If
your
you-
ears, honey.
If you listen to it, right? Because she goes through all of these runs, and some of the runs are really off pitch sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
She's
know.
good in the studio. So if her studio recordings, you know what I'm saying, would
Yeah.
have like this perfect pitchness to it. But listening to her live, or kind of like, so it's when I see her kind of like, I'm like, there was a New Year thing one time. I was like, no, change it. It's just gonna be a different.
Wasn't that her in the Super Bowl? That her pitch was so off, people were making fun of her.
I don't
Like
know. I don't know.
Oh, years ago.
I avoid her like the plague, right? Because I've
Yeah,
heard her.
It was so bad. People were making fun of her in the Super Bowl like years ago.
I would rather listen to death metal, to be honest.
Hey, there you go. You can't tell the pitch on that.
Well,
It's
actually, a
hard.
lot of death metal, actually sing really, really well. It's
Oh,
surprising.
the ballads.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
before they go into this, you know what? Their
Mhm.
singing voices are actually really on point. I don't know if you've ever heard.
I've noticed that. I don't have perfect pitch, but I've noticed that. Like, dang, they sing the most beautiful ballads, and then
Yeah.
right after screaming, it's just like, whoa, beautiful. Linkin Park.
Or I'm Filipino, right? So luckily there's lots of Filipinos that sings really well in karaoke. But sometimes on those off nights, right, you're kind of like, okay, I need some beer for this,
You're gonna need a lot of beer. Come to any karaoke stuff with me around.
Yeah.
That's to get you really intoxicated for that. Wow, Case. So good.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much, Lori. My dad has a really good voice, but his accent is thick. So he can sing like a Frank Sinatra. I did it my way, you know. Love him. Thank you, Emerson. I have to go soon. This was a wonderful weekend. Question for you. How are you going to top off this 3-day weekend with another event? Somehow, you know what I'm saying, that question always gets asked, you know what I'm saying, in this thing, but somehow, you know what I'm saying. Suggestion here for you. Maybe do this again, the same format and everything. Ramesh Balsekar talked about the same thing over and over again. I haven't really followed Ramesh. Was Ramesh from Nisargadatta? Yep. Okay. Yeah. When he came to the States, he talked almost every day, but always the same thing over and over again. Okay. I don't know. I like the creativity here of trying, you know, of always being on the edge. There are no more questions here. All the questions have obviously dried up. Is there any way that you can make this into a breakout room? We can. You know what? I can just stop the recording and we can just, if anyone has question, you know, I'll stay here till, you know, till for another hour. So I'll just open it though, and I'll stop the recording. How's that? Or does anyone have any questions? Or we can just stay like this. Or we can party. I don't know. I have water.
Party.
Of course, Casey will say that.
Water party. Where's my fresh water at?
I'll stop the recording so that if people have more questions that, that are more thing. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay.